Inner voice, troubling most of us majority of the times. Does that sound something very relatable? If you're finding out some answers for this, this is the right place for you. Hi, I'm DrGopikaKumar, a communication coach. Let's get started with this right away. So we've all heard about our inner critic, right? The inner voice, which is constantly speaking back to us 24 hours a day. And you know, the beauty of this is that this inner voice, which is constantly speaking back to us, consciously and subconsciously, we don't realize it's getting ingrained deeply within us. We don't speak as many words as much as we are thinking in our subconscious state of mind. And if that state is speaking negatively, that frame up of thought is not positive, it's not working in the direction or the future that you'd like it to be, then this is getting ingrained in your subconscious state of mind as a pattern of negative thoughts. Now, how do we get out of this? And what is the real way to silence out that inner voice, which is not helping you to move in the right direction? I'm going to make you all look at this like a cyclical process. And we're going to continue this in a very, very simple and an easy fashion. Now, imagine there is a very important task that you need to do. And let's start from the very important task as that you need to create a presentation using a software that you've never used. Here comes the inner voice. Imagine this like a circle. And the inner voice says and talks back to you that you will not be able to do this. This isn't something that you've known. This is something which is an alien software. You don't know how to work on this. And it happens with all of us most of the times. And the moment we feel that factor of we are not familiar with it comes in between, my limiting beliefs, my negative thoughts will start playing a bigger and a more massive role. What happens as a result? My inner voice and my inner critic says, get help, seek support, go out and get somebody to do it for you, rather than you finding out the way out from the same as well. And you again get back and you again challenge yourself and you say, I'm going to make this happen. And you sit another day and you try and learn, but because it's been daunting, remember it's going like a circle, because it was difficult for you to overcome this, you again start getting and gasping and you're again struggling to cope up with it and you're like, I'm not being able to make this presentation. I don't know how to use this software. I'm not meant to do this. I don't have time to really make this presentation. I might as well get it done from another person. And you again start giving it up. This entire mode continues. Imagine flowing like a circle. It's like a vicious circle. You try and do it again. And again the limiting belief comes in. Again the negative thought comes in. Again the inner critic is coming in and is telling you and it's stopping you that tumse nahi hoga. This is not something which is a part of you. You'll have to go ahead and learn this and it's going to take much longer for you to complete it. And in this circuit you get lost. Sometimes you could give up. Sometimes you could give away the task to somebody else rather than challenging yourself to do it. Now here is how I would like to challenge each one of you. And if you really believe in the potential that if somebody else can do it, so can you. So let's create that power right here, right now. Let's establish certain patterns, and I'm going to talk about those 5 very clear patterns that we need to develop to break this negative line of thoughts for ourselves. The very first pattern that we're going to develop here is saying to yourself now and again, every single time, it's normal to have these negative thoughts. I'm having it. Any other person, had they been in my position, they would have also gone through the same aspect. So it's absolutely fine. We call this as the normalcy assumption. Please assume that, because this is something which happens in real. The second, the moment you first accept that this is going to happen because we are humans, the second aspect to break through out of this cycle is to make sure that we identify that how is this pushing me forward to think the opposite. And the opposite of negative, we all know, is positive. So the moment the negative thoughts are coming into your mind and it's stopping you from doing what you should be doing, snap yourself out of it. S-N-A-P. Identify that the purpose of that thought coming into your mind was for you to realize it's normal to happen, and for you to realize that it's time for you to snap out of it. But easier said than done, right? It's not so easy to really snap out of it. How is it that we're going to come out of this, Gopika? All we need to do here is use the click of your finger. Use your snap. Just to remind yourself with the sound that I just need to break this chain of negative thoughts. That's about it. I need to break this chain of negative thoughts, and all I need to remind myself is, how bad could it be? I'm only learning, right? At least I'm trying. Is where we start breaking that pattern which is not going to allow you otherwise to do it. So you get back into that mode and you say, all right, it's fine. I mean, at least I will be able to learn, if not be able to complete it. So you start speaking back to yourself in that positive state of language. The third aspect that I do regularly and most of the times is I start reframing. If my thought process is saying, I want to be confident, I want to be confident. So somewhere actually, you're saying back to yourself that I'm not confident. You're actually using a negative frame of mind already. I want to be somebody, which means I am not that person in this, in this very minute, in this very second. Let's reframe this. Rather than saying, I want to be confident giving that presentation, reframe that by saying, I am confident and I'm making a progress in the direction. Not that I want to, because now you're pushing that identity from yourself and giving it to somebody else. Reframing your negative pattern of thoughts. Reframing. So we are just starting to identify that it's normal to have it. We cannot evade them. And when they come to you, how do you start treating them? How do you start catering? Because they are bound to come to your mind. The fourth, when these negative pattern of thoughts continue and the resistance continues to build up, the fourth, these negative thoughts, remind yourself, are not facts. So in return, you're saying that I'm not skilled to do this presentation. I'm not competent to give this presentation. I am not skilled enough to prepare this presentation. But these are not facts, because once you get down to it and put your mind to it, you can learn everything. And if not a perfect version of it, you can at least try to become a better version of what you were earlier. And you start working into the direction by continuously repeating to yourself that these are not facts, because most of the times these are our preconceived notions. These are our interpretations because we haven't done and used that software in the past. So we are feeling the dread on how to make this presentation. Because we've not experienced challenging ourselves in the past, we are now interpreting that I will not be able to do it in future as well. And my negative thoughts continue to roll up on me. But this is the time where we're going to treat them by saying that this is not a fact. So we are learning how to handle these thoughts. But in a lot of situations, these could really get out of hand, where the notion of giving up, to the extent that you become depressed and you need, help from psychologically from a trained counselor. It could be a state that you're not being able to get yourself out of, creating your own self-worth at that very time. my fifth most important recommendation here is to come out of that rut and that cycle of negative thoughts and to stop that inner critic. And if this is the time that you must be seeking out professional external help, then this is it for you. The fifth, seek professional help. And this professional help could be a paid counselor, a psychologist who's helping you out on the same, or it could also be one of your family, your friends, your colleague, your mother, your father, your sibling, your spouse, who could actually psychologically help you to reframe these negative line of thoughts and be able to come out of it as well. Try them out. I'm sure with respect to your respective situations, you'd like to give this a try. And do share your comments with us as well. Would love to hear back from you on this. Until then, this is Dr. Gopika Kumar signing off.